Hello, guys. Thank you very much for joining in. Hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel at their career and become a better version of themselves. And I also help students preparing for the FRM and the CFA exam. We have with us one of our students who has been able to clear the FRM Level 2 in the November 2022 attempt. We're going to be talking to him about his journey, his way of preparation, what are the challenges he faced, and how he was able to deal with those challenges. Let us start the discussion. Jenil, thank you very much for taking out time and talking to us. First of all, for the benefit of the audience, if you could tell us when you cleared level 1, okay? Uh, when did you plan for level 2, and what is your background for the entire audience? Yeah.
Yeah, I am basically an engineering student. Currently, I am in my final year, and I cleared level 1 in July 2021. The results were out in September. So I started for preparing for level 2 for the May 2022 attempt.
Okay.
In May 2022, I was not able to clear level 2, so I again gave the attempt in November, and I was able to clear it.
Okay. When you were preparing for May 2022 for level 2, so what happened in that time frame? First question that, and second, what do you feel you could not clear? What was the reason behind that you could not clear the level 2 in May 2022 exam?
The first thing is that for level 1, the thing is that the college was online. So I had ample time to prepare for level 1. And I was able to clear level 1 with just 2 months of preparation. And I tried the same thing for level 2 also. But the thing is that I had to attend college, I had assignments and practicals and exams along with the FRM exam. So in those 2 months before, in March and April 2022, I did not get that much of time. I was able to do the first 3 books thoroughly, but the last 3 topics, that is the risk management, current issues, and liquidity, I was not able to rush through those topics. So I got fourth quartile in all those books. The first 3 books got second quartile because I was able to prepare for it.
So it was like 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4 in the
Yeah.
first exam, and you could not clear.
Okay.
And so when you were preparing at that point in time, when was the college exams?
It were in May only, May end.
Oh, and the exam was also in May end.
Yeah. Like, the FRM exam and the finals had a 1 week gap. That's it. So they were blasting. And it was
Now, so,
offline.
and when you gave the exam, did you felt that okay, I might not be able to clear?
I knew I would not be able to clear after giving the exam.
Okay, and then
It was too late to defer.
okay, and then what was your approach after that for the next attempt?
After that, I focused on liquidity, on credit, and on the last 2 subjects, current issues and risk management, because those were weak. And I started the preparation again in August. And this time I practiced more, about 1,500 questions.
Okay.
And I gave 1 mark.
1 more. And how much time you were giving every single day to prepare from August?
Approximately 2 hours.
And before August, I mean, when you started preparing in August, did you remember what was there in market, credit? Because there was a gap.
Yeah. I did not remember it, but once I read it, I felt, yeah, I know this stuff.
It was a recall well. Okay.
Yep.
Now, when you are preparing for the August and 2 hours every single day, you started first with the credit risk book. That is what you said, right? The approach was credit.
Credit and operational. I was doing one chapter. Well, not one chapter. One chapter each day. Every alternate, not each day. Yep. Okay. Because once I did operational in the first attempt, I did operational at a stretch, like entire book at once. The thing was that it was very hard to reconnect it. So this time I was spreading it. Only the operational and current issues I was spreading it. I was doing it every alternate day or twice a week, like that. Okay. And along with that, I was doing credit. Then I finished it. After that, I did market, like that.
Got it. Okay. Now, when you were doing that, so you started solving simultaneously?
No. Like chapter wise, I was solving simultaneously, but book wise, I did it after I completed the entire book.
Okay. Well, you mean the actual question bank? So that question bank,
yeah, like for example, if I did one chapter, I completed a chapter. Then if your you had given about 40, 50 questions or 30 questions from that particular chapter. I would randomly solve 50. So for 100 chapters, I solved 1,500 questions like that.
Okay, okay, okay. And was there any deviation from August till November in that 2 hours that you were sitting?
Deviation, like, yeah, like if I go out of town or if there is college exams, then I would not study for the entire week or for a period of 10 to 15 days.
Okay.
It was like that.
And when you completed these books, for example, the credit risk, investment management risk, liquidity, and current issues, you again went to the market and the remaining book, the other book.
Yeah, market and operational, and which I took very lightly because I performed well in the first attempt.
Okay. Now, when you were doing that and when you completed your entire reading, what was that date? Everything. I mean, solving 1,500 questions plus reading the content.
It was November first week, from what I remember.
Okay. Okay. And what was the confidence level at that point in time?
Then I would be able to clear it because I knew stuff, and I was giving interviews also for different job profiles. So I was able to crack almost. Actually, I was able to crack every interview. Like I gave 4 to 5 interviews. I was able to crack all the technical rounds. So
And they were
I was
also
pretty
asking almost
confident.
similar to market risk, credit risk, that stuff. Is it?
Yeah, like the roles were like trading analyst, investment research analyst, options trader, that that. So I was able to. Uh,
Hello. I think so there
yeah,
was some slight internet issue. I'll just re-ask you the question. So the interviews which you were giving, they were also related to the risk management or FRM unit content.
yeah, they were minutely or entirely related to risk management.
Okay. Okay. And then from the first week of November, what was your strategy?
On the first week of November, I started first, so there were like 2 weeks remaining. So in the first 10 days, I brushed through the entire syllabus again. The important topics, the one in which you had March start, like there were important topics to cover, which had high probability of being asked. I did that, and in the last 3, 4 days, I gave one mock and then read through the secret sauce, like the
Okay.
formulas and the important highlighted
That
stuff.
what was this score that you were getting in those mock papers?
I just gave one mock and the score was 48. Yep.
48. And you analyze what all wrong you had in that mock. Also, you went to the concepts,
Yeah.
checked.
And
So,
majority of the questions were wrong from liquidity and current issues because current issues I had nothing to practice.
okay. And then when you were going ahead with the exam, when you started solving the exam in that first 1 hour, first of all, how was that? And how was it different? Was it different from the first attempt?
Yeah, it was different from the first attempt. In the first attempt, the qualitative to quants weightage was 80 to 20. And in this, it was almost equal. Like the qualitative was 60 and the quant was 40. And I was shocked because so much quantitative questions I've never been asked before.
Okay. Okay. How was your performance in that quant section?
It was better than qualitative because quants was half of the quants questions were pretty straightforward, formula based, and I had done my formulas pretty well. I That's why I performed good on the liquidity part, then the credit risk part
Okay.
because high weightage of quants.
You said that you had around 40 calculation. The theory part was around
Yeah.
60. So how was your performance in the quantitative aspect?
Quantitative aspect, the questions were pretty straightforward. Half of the questions were pretty straightforward, formula based only, but
Okay.
they were asking formulas from like very, very much inside the books, parts which I had left. But I remember something. Kuch bhi karke, I eliminated the options and I was able to solve. At least I was able to eliminate 2 options.
Okay.
And in the quantitative part, the thing is that in the first attempt, I had not been prepared thoroughly. So there were 4 options and it seemed like all 4 of them were correct. And I was able to eliminate one or at most 2 options. But in the second attempt, that was not the case. I was able to eliminate at least 2 and sometimes all 3 options. So there was at least 50% chance that my answer is correct.
Okay. And when you came out of the exam, did you had any number in mind that I'll get 50, I'll get 70, I'll get 30? What was that number?
I did not have any number in mind, but I knew that I would clear it because the paper went decent enough.
Compared to the last attempt, it was very good.
Compared to the last attempt, it was very good.
Okay, okay. And now, what are the quartiles that you have got for the exam?
The quarters were 324, 131.
So in the first book, you got third part, right?
Yeah,
Third
because
quartile.
first and third book I took very lightly.
Okay, so you get market risk third quartile, you got current credit risk second quartile, operation risk fourth quartile, right? And liquidity first, and investment management third, and your current issues again first. Okay, wonderful.
First.
So now, what has been the reaction of people around you, especially your friends from college, that you've cleared both the levels?
From my college, like everybody congratulated me, but none of them are pursuing FRM. Two or three of my friends are doing CFA, and I gave the FRM level 2 with one of my friends. He got top quartile in all the books. He has completed all three levels of CFA, so yeah, it's easier for him. Like they were congratulated me, and they were asking me for my future plans and all that, and they were even inquiring me that like what is the benefit of doing FRM and how will it help in the job? What is the value it adds to your resume?
And this, I mean, just from your experience, because you've been giving interviews. So in the interviews, did they ask you, or did you mention that I'm preparing for FRM exam? You know what?
They asked me questions related to the strategies such as like Strangle Straddle, all that stuff. Then they asked me about options Greek. Then about stuff related to other market related stuff such as VAR. They asked VAR in almost every interview.
Oh wow! Okay.
The interview was related to market risk. I did not apply for operationals in either of the companies, only market or credit. Then they asked about counterparty risk, then about portfolio management. And then half of the questions were related to my internship, like what I did and all.
Got it. And then if I ask you this question, that if somebody comes to you and right now asks you, give me 3 tips on how to prepare for FRM level 2, what would be that 3 tips from your side?
First thing is that this should not be by-hearted. You have to understand the concept very well because most of the questions, like 80 to 90% of the paper was conceptual based. Conceptual as in there were no direct questions except for a few quantitative questions. You need to memorize the formulas very well. And what is the notation for each? Like, can't explain exactly, but you have to memorize the formula and practice it as well.
Okay.
Then the second thing is that you need to invest your time properly. Like I did a mistake in the first attempt and it cost me a lot of dollars. The exam is expensive. So we need to invest a lot of time in this. Properly, about roughly 300 to 350 hours at least. It depends upon. I have an engineering background, so I have no knowledge about finance prior hand. If someone is doing BBA or BFM, then it would be helpful for them. Like they could and complete the entire syllabus in 200 to 250 hours. It depends upon person to person. And third thing is that practice. In the first attempt, I did not give any marks. I hardly practiced. I only practiced the question at the back of the book, the chapter end. So my practice was very, like, I hardly practiced anything. So you should practice it to make the concept stronger, and you will know that when you give the exam. When you give the actual exam, you will that if you would not have practiced, you would not know the kind of questions that were asked. And you would be confused in the exam. Because the questions are like 8 to 10 lines question, and each option are 2 lines. It was very time consuming, but the number of questions were small. Like 80 questions were only asked in the 4 hour period now.
Got it.
So each question is time consuming. But time is not in restraint entirely in the entire 4 hours. Quants takes lesser time than qualitative, because in qualitative you have to think about it. In quants you just have to solve and it is done.
Okay. And you're mentioning that remember the formula, write the formula, because you've seen that a lot of questions were straightforward formula based questions.
Yeah. If you have done formula, then very high chances that you will clear the exam with just the quants part. Because even if you do the quants part, then 40, that is 32 questions out of 80. Even if you have 25 out of that 32, then you can get 15 in the quantitative part, or 15 to 20 right in the quantitative part, and you will just barely clear the exam.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I mean, Jenil, thank you very much for sharing this experience and the way you prepare for the exam. What happened in that first attempt? What are the challenges? How you managed to overcome those challenges? I think so. All of this discussion is going to be really helpful for a lot of students and a lot of people who are going for the FRM level 2 now in the coming months. Thank you very much for sharing your experience. Thank you.
You will